Hi guys, I'm Steve from Chequerplate Drums and Percussion, one of the directors of the company we just formed. The other one is Johnny Jenkins, who will be telling a few bits later on as well. We make drums and percussion instruments. We try to do something a little bit different to what everybody else does. There's enough people who make good quality wooden drums, for example, so we decided to find a bit more of a niche and try to do something a little bit more off the wall or out of the box, whatever way you like to describe it. Originally I started with just little tambourines, then added some cowbells, some checker discs, some blades, eventually ended up doing some snare drums, for which I decided to design my own lug rather than use a generic tubular lug, which again has been a little overused in the custom world, shall we say. The round see-through lug, which originally appeared on the checker snare then, with a perspex center in the lug, that led me to then actually experiment with perspex shells as well. And then eventually, perspex lugs with a perspex shell, we thought we might as well have some LEDs in it to highlight everything a little bit. The challenge then was to try to hide the wires inside the drum, because obviously with it being a completely clear shell, we didn't want spaghetti junction inside and that. And eventually we came up with a solution which we think looks quite good and a lot of our customers seem to like as well. And then Johnny approached me, having seen some of the snares, and wanted a kit built for the current example tour, which is in full swing as we speak. And not only did we end up building a rack, the kit for him, but also actually made a rack out of perspex while we were at it, and then added some LEDs to that and some cymbal discs, and yes, one thing led to another effectively, and the whole sort of timeline was probably from first tambourine to the full kit in about just over 3 years. So I don't know where we'll be in the next 3 years, but if you want to follow us, you'll be able to find out and keep an eye on it. The whole thing with Chequerplate came about having made my kitchen floor out of that a few years beforehand, and had some leftovers. And I'm also, apart from drums, my other addiction is motorbikes. So I ended up building or making some custom parts for some of my bikes, and when I dropped some piece of aluminium Chequerplate on the floor, I realized how resonant and how musical they were, and that's when I had the idea to use that material to make instruments out of. I always like the industrial look of it, I like the versatility of it, and there has been some companies who made drums which looked like they got a Chequerplate covering on them, but nobody actually made drums out of Chequerplate as it comes originally. So that's again what I said earlier, just the nice, something a bit different, you know. I mean, I didn't want to buy just another Keller shell from America and put some tubular lugs on it and with a slightly different name tag on it maybe in a different color combination. So that's why Chequerplate stuff, or now Chequerplate Drums and Percussion rather, should I say, is actually here now. We've got quite a lot of new products coming up. Some of them, unfortunately, we've been so busy because the kit we built for Johnny was the first full kit we built after all the different snare drums. We're now building a kit desperately, trying to get ready for the Jobecki show. But I've got probably at least a dozen different design ideas at home, some of the percussion bits, tambourines, more tambourines and shaker type things, different variations on the existing checker bells and checker blades. We've got already some even more, some people would say outrageous drum designs involving LEDs with color changing and things, which again has been done, but our challenge is to do it so that there isn't a multi-core of cables plugged into a drum and wires all over the place. We're trying to do it in a completely clear shell, so it still can be used as a drum without being plugged in and still looks nice in its own right. Then if you plug it in, you got the LEDs, but not having a drum which, when the lights are out, looks like you couldn't be bothered to plug it in and you got old spaghetti junction hanging out of it and things like that, you know. But we're even thinking of possibly things with plasma balls and whatever, you know, the sky's the limit. We're going to try bring something new to the drumming world, hopefully.